justice! We stand as one!
Are you gonna give me orders?
Welcome back, everybody, to the second day of TSL 5, which of course is brought to you by TeamLiquid, Twitch, Shopify, Secret Lab, who gave me this beautiful chair that I'm sitting on. Anything, it wouldn't be possible without them. But we are now 5 series in, which means we have 3 best of 5s to go. And we have some absolutely amazing players in the last 3. I think favorites in each and every single one of them. The next one, though, is going to be the PvP between MaNa and ShoWTimE.
That is just a who's who of the StarCraft 2 community across the world. I mean, Liquid, MaNa versus ShoWTimE. What? You know, hold on. Before I say what a treat, I want to come back to, what was the word? A clown fiesta is how you describe the PvP matchup. And I want to dig into this a little bit after we intro our players. But I'm very eager, Roddy. I know that you're an expert at PvP. I know your win rate is close to 100% on your stream.
Oh no!
I'm a long-time Roddy sub, and this is why I follow you. You know, so I'm eager to dig into the matchup with you. But we are underway in our very first match with 2 players who are long-time StarCraft 2 pros. In the top right has continued to become what many call one of the top 3 foreigners around today. It is the German Protoss, ShoWTimE.
Imauer. And in the left bottom side of Eternal Empire, we are looking at the main base of the man who's going to try to do as well as his teammates did earlier today. Clem was flawless. Uthermal was flawless. Can he do it too? It is MaNa.
Now, I want to briefly note, if you think about something like Terran versus Terran, the tank, whether you're going mech or whether you're going bio, is a really powerful unit, but it also doesn't move. And so there's a lot of trying to vie for position. There's a lot of being behind, but then getting your opponent out of position, ways to come back. Protoss versus Protoss, I'd say for the first 5, 6, 7 minutes of the game, there's really no power unit like the tank that lets you pull comebacks. It's just a lot of like single target damage things. It's like a lot of stalkers. It's like, you know, hey, the Immortal came out and is dealing a huge amount of damage to the stalkers. Rats. You know, there's a lot of feeling of build orderiness in the outset where you don't really have the ability to out-tactics your opponent. But, you know, Clown Fiesta is kind of a different term. Talk to me about that a wee bit.
Well, it's a lot about the proxies, right? I think TLO even included this in his true or false contest we had. And that was about the games yesterday, I believe, though, where it was the 3rd production facility, a Stargate or a Robo or the 3rd gateway is often placed outside of the main base. Often even the 2nd pylon just gets built somewhere on the map to keep your opponent guessing, to keep your opponent nervous. I actually loved what MaNa did with his probe. Before sending it to the other side of the map immediately, he put it at the Zelnaga Watchtower for a split second, and then he saw ShoWTimE's probe arrive, and he's like, that's good to know. That means that this probe is not in the corner of the map somewhere building a Stargate or building a Twilight Council. These are little subtle things, but I love that MaNa did that. And of course, the probe showed up in his main afterwards, but it still gives you a comfort state of mind for a split second. And that's nice to have in PvP, because this matchup is crazy. And we can already see both of them actually opening up double adept. And I find this a little bit surprising, because especially ShoWTimE always strikes me as the stalker sentry guy. You know, he's going to be the solid one, even in this crazy matchup. But even he is opening up with the depths over here.
Well, you know, not to be too shy about following straight up with Sentry, saving up enough money to throw down the expansion. Both players build at essentially the exact same time, but MaNa's instead favoring the follow-up with extra adepts. And this is, I think, one of the funniest dances in all of StarCraft 2, when it's adepts versus adepts trying to, like, shade cancel, maybe I will, maybe I won't, but then we're trying to, like, position our adepts versus each other's shades and stuff.
No. He made a mistake. He had the probe in position to build a pylon, but he wasn't paying attention, and that means that these adepts of ShoWTimE will just get straight into the main base, and that is 5 probes already going down. And I think that is going to be it, but that's a mistake by MaNa. That should not have happened.
Oh no, and the Adept also gets out at the end. Yuck. At the same time, Liquid Mana gets to the ramp and ShoWTimE says, let me show you how to do this. Instantly builds a shield battery to close off, using the sentries to just trap in. We'll be warping in a pair of stalkers to just deny this. And this is just really good, clean gameplay from ShoWTimE.
Yep. Only ended up losing a single probe that was unfortunately a little too close to those gateways, so it got picked off from the other side. But yeah, you gotta be very happy with this if you're ShoWTimE. You know that you're just in a good position at this point. And one of the things that a lot of the pros have been talking about in PvP is that it's hard to make comebacks in this matchup. Like, the Disruptor is technically a great comeback unit, but you can't really get into Disruptors that easily because that Archon Zealot ball is just going to steamroll you, or some of these weird Adept timings. Now, MaNa is going to try to make some magic happen here with the 4 Adepts, and he gets a Sentry. He should be able to get the second Sentry here as well, and he does.
Nice.
Okay, I kind of like that. That's a good play.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of what I was talking about with, like, the tank. The tank is such a powerful unit that is built around positioning. It can be just so... Oh no, accidentally let the shade finish on all of them, and only a single Adept makes it in, and just as much damage as the Adepts can do if they break in. You lose a lot of money if all your Adepts wind up falling. 3 Adepts managed to make it out in time, though.
Yeah, it's kind of cool that that one Adept squeezed by, and it's still got a couple of probes. I gotta say, MaNa's getting some good value out of these Adepts. Like, I hated his start, but now he's been able to tie things up, kind of, right? He got 2 sentries earlier, now he gets 4 probes as well. He still has a couple of these Adepts alive. It's actually a pretty good play by MaNa, because in the beginning of the game I was like, oh no, losing 5 probes like that, that's gonna be so hard to turn this around. But he's trying to make the best of it.
Next steps underway for both players. Twilight +1. Zealot Archon getting up and started. All the simulators are finished on both sides. So at this phase in the game, I'm curious what you feel like would be the way to tip the balance in your favor.
I think it's hard to really commit to something, as man, these players are just not slowing down. ShoWTimE lets another Adept Shade finish up. Only gets 2 probes this time though, so not that successful. I think you can obviously make some cool stuff happen with Warp Prisms, and this is why I'm super surprised that ShoWTimE let that Adept Shade finish up, because if you just have 2 Adepts and a Prism, you can drop them into main, you can run into the middle line, get a couple probes, shade back to the Prism, get out of there again. I think right now, obviously, you don't want to warp in even more Adepts, because you want to get ready for that real power ball of Archons and Zealots. And I think that they're both going to keep a close eye on each other. It's like, are you being greedy? Are you making too many probes? Because if you are, everybody likes to go 3 bases and 55 workers or even more. But then your opponent can often just have a little too much. So you got to be very careful with going up to 3 bases, and above all, saturating that 3rd base.
Ooh, Liquid Mana with the double Immortal Warp Prism, Hallucinated Phoenixes, spotting each other's everything. Well, I think ShoWTimE managed to spot that. But now we have ShoWTimE responding with the double Archon Warp Prism at the far left.
Actually, a really cool play. I mean, there is a shield battery here that can save some of these probes, but 2 Archons do a lot of damage. And ShoWTimE is going to get even more economic damage done. I would say get a few more probes, ShoWTimE. That's exactly what he does. Look at these Archons go. Wow.
And in the meantime, we see in the main base, an Immortal drops, a single pylon getting targeted. Uh-oh. Only depowers the single Templar archives.
That isn't really used, so that's not too bad. You can see that ShoWTimE is struggling a little bit because he accidentally let the battery finish up in his wall. So now he's actually walled off his natural.
Wait, what?
The Adepts are going to town. What is happening in this game? Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, quickly eliminate at all costs. Oh my god, that poor little shield battery. Look, there's the probe in the main base that's going to try to build a Nexus at the 3rd. Uh-oh, well, there it goes. See you later.
Wow, they're actually playing insane. I feel like, look at these Immortals go. They have perfect positioning there. The Zealots are not getting any damage done. MaNa is completely ravaging the main base of ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE on the other end is now Archon dropping the main base of MaNa. What an insane... Okay, this is way more action than most PvPs have. I'll guarantee you that.
Yeah, I mean, normally it's like, listen, I'm going to just play like a single-player game for a little bit, and I'll see you at the 15-minute mark. But here, instead, this harassment is just clutch. MaNa, I mean, technically, Zealots are a good unit against Immortal in a straight-up fight, but Immortals just have so much health, and they're these wide units that are blocking off a lot of the surface area where the Zealots would want to try to surround. And at this point in time, it's kind of hilarious that both players are so similar in terms of worker count because they've both been so diligent about harassing each other. It is true, though, that MaNa is ahead on the upgrade count. ShoWTimE a little bit ahead on the expansion count, but more or less in the unit tab, both have a lot of Archons, both have a lot of Zealots. Only real difference is 6 Archons for ShoWTimE.
Yeah, okay, well, this is insane, right? Because MaNa is like, you know what? I'm just gonna attack. I don't even care about you anymore. I think the Prism has been recalled. Okay, that's a perfect recall by ShoWTimE, because he really needs that Prism and these 2 Archons at home. After all the damage that has been done to worker lines, here we go. But this seems like a pretty good start of the fight for ShoWTimE. I like his Archon positioning. He's got so many Archons, and as far as I know, more Archons is better.
Liquid MaNa positioned his Zealots in such a way that they were constantly falling back, avoiding taking a lot of damage. More warp engines from both players. The Archon counts continue to remain high. The shield battery in the backline for ShoWTimE has done a great job continuing to rebuild and replenish. But honestly, MaNa had so many Zealots soaking damage at the start of this fight. And look at these Archons with 10 shield, 50 shield, 70 shield. All these Archons are almost dead. I mean, MaNa, if MaNa pulls back and these Archons regain their health, this is going to be a huge spot for MaNa.
Yep, but he might even feel like he can do even more. That fight went so well for him. You mentioned the upgrades. I was like, they're kind of close to each other. That entire fight, MaNa had +2, ShoWTimE only had +1. So it indeed had a massive impact, I think, on how that battle played out. MaNa's micro was obviously on point, saving all of his Archons over and over and over again. GG gets called. 10 minutes, well, let's make it 8 minutes of non-stop action between these two, and it's MaNa who keeps the Team Liquid winning train alive and rolling forward as he takes the 1-0 lead here.
That was just a really unusually action-packed game, from Adept Shades to then Warp Prism Harass on both sides to then that final fight. And, you know, I remember a while back, the Protoss Players State, we were playing around in... I don't remember what the name is, but it's like the unit tester map where you can just summon all sorts of units and just send them into each other.
Yeah, that's what it's called, unit tester map.
I'm that good, Roddy. I was on the spot, figured it out. But I remember we were looking at Immortal Archon fights and just how different it is if you just put in 1 Zealot or then just put in 5 Zealots. Because we normally think of the Zealot as the incidental unit. I mean, I may as well make some so I don't have all my minerals constantly piling up. But if you just position a few Zealots in just the right way in some of these fights, it's dramatic just how crazy it can swing in the other direction. And we saw that MaNa was down 1 Archon in that fight. And it's so easy to go, well, the Archon count's the only thing that matters. But I think just a handful of extra Zealots that MaNa had at just the right position, making sure that they weren't soaking a ton of Archon shots, making sure that MaNa's Archons were picking off a lot of ShoWTimE Zealots, just tipped that fight so crazy in MaNa's direction. It was a sight to see.
No, absolutely. And it's also like Immortals are funny units, right? Because everybody knows that Immortals are great. But then it's like Immortals are not the best units in Archon Zealot fights, because technically they don't deal bonus damage against any of those units. But the one thing that Immortals do have is range. Archons have T-Rex arms, right? And you could see the Archons of ShoWTimE. Yeah, that's just what it is. They have no range, man. Like they always block each other. They try, but they never get in range. And it felt that MaNa's entire army was firing all the time, while ShoWTimE's Archons were kind of blocking each other, trying to get through. And ShoWTimE's micro was good, but he was just lacking damage output there in the end. And then, of course, once again, the upgrade that you mentioned, it wasn't a big window. It really wasn't. It was like 20, 25 seconds ahead. Well, It took place in that entire fight. MaNa had +2, ShoWTimE had +1. That really did make a difference.
It was almost like accidentally relevant. I'm like, well, I mean, they're pretty much in the same spot, but this is the only difference that's obvious, huh? And then, wow, MaNa managed to find that timing. Yeah. On the top right, the German Protoss wearing the blue trunks. It is ShoWTimE.
In the left bottom side, the player that's representing Team Liquid. It's been a fantastic day for them so far. Utomo 1, Clem 1, he's up 1-0. It is MaNa.
Man, I hope we have similar results in this game. Damn it, I spoke too soon. Well, might be Indy's time to go again.
No, it can be Indy's time to go, man. This is a Polish player. Indy being a dedicated Polish caster,
Yeah.
he needs to be part of this. That's just how it works. It's one big Polish connection.
Well, MaNa's rejoining things in a quick moment. MaNa's just apparently having a little bit of lag issues, and we always want to make sure the players have proper playing conditions. We don't want to enforce that they have to play when things are terrible. But yeah. You were saying, Kevin.
No, I was not saying anything useful here. I was just buying some time as well for this game to continue. But obviously, both players are in Europe, so normally there shouldn't be any issues. Hopefully that this will... Okay, MaNa says everything seems fine.
Wonderful.
So hopefully we can continue. Especially if you think of the pace of that last game, having any sort of lag would be terrible. Because it's very, very, very unique that I'm casting a PvP where I'm like, okay, the adepts again. He's going with the adepts again. Counter adepts, prism. It's just like, it was non-stop. It was truly a joy to watch. It was short, but really explosive.
Oh man, yeah, and I mean, like, it's so funny just how sensitive your body becomes to little tiny disruptions in the connection. You know, like, I mean, I remember I was watching a Brood War player that, you know, joined a game and the turn rate dropped to 10. And he's like, all right, I guess I don't build Mutalisk this game. This whole unit is eliminated.
It's funny as well when I think back of the days where I was a super casual gamer when I just started playing video games. I remember playing like Warcraft with seconds of lag, right? Sometimes the game would just stop for 3 seconds and then it would continue and everything would speed up really fast. And I was like, haha, that's so funny, you know, look how quick all these units go, because there was like a 4-second lag spike. And then these days, if you have like 0.2 seconds of lag, you're like, it's unplayable, you know? It's really...
I can't stand the internet. Yeah, no, or in the early days where it's like, all right, the game starts. Before I even feel what this is like, everybody, let's set to extra high latency. let's just hit the button, man. And hey, what do you know? TLO's prediction coming true. MaNa is favoring the third gateway in the middle of the map. We also see MaNa favoring the Stalkers, which is the unit that transitions faster than any unit in the game from boy, am I happy to have these to these are literally useless. In PvP, the Stalker in the late game feels just like a paperweight. But early game, building Stalkers is just like the most versatile, fast pressure, harassment, fast Punisher unit. And this third gateway in the middle, is it going to build another Stalker? Is it going to wait for the warp? Oh, there it is.
Just more and more Stalkers. I mean, wait, is that a scout actually by ShoWTimE? It seems like he's heading in the right direction. Does he already know about this? He didn't, but he just walked straight into it, so he finds it. And this is a really big scout. The Stalker, I completely agree with what you said. Like, obviously, late game, you don't really want to have it. You want to have those power units, the Archons, the Immortals, and even Zealots are better. But the early game, Stalkers have all the micro potential. And that's why early game Stalkers are amazing, because they are faster than Adepts, they have better range than Adepts, and obviously a Zealot without charge at this level, it won't even get a single hit off. So Stalkers are absolute king in the early game of PvP.
ShoWTimE is doing a number of very subtle, smart things, moving the Stalkers into a position where they have a little choke and can get some extra hits off in case it's very fast pressure, getting a shield battery, not deviating from the expansion. There's the second shield battery. And similarly, MaNa's going, well, it looks like you spotted my third gateway. No need to force this. I'm just going to build a Nexus behind. And both players are more or less equivalent. MaNa's just going to be trying to pressure to get free kills here.
Yeah, MaNa would love to get adventurous here. He's got a lot of Stalkers. He's got a lot of burst damage, but he has to be so careful because of the force fields. I gotta say, though, 2 force fields for 1 Stalker. I actually think this leaves a little opportunity for MaNa to get more done. But now with the second battery finishing up, that's going to be harder. He also has 2 Adepts coming in, by the way. It's very important for ShoWTimE that he doesn't let these Adepts go into the main base, because that's not something you ever want to deal with.
And it looks like MaNa's not going to try to get cute, not sending Adepts into the main, just immediately bashing on everything. The Stalker count from MaNa is plummeting. ShoWTimE on point, building the shield battery on the high ground. The Stalker count from MaNa plummets. There's no probes here. The Adepts have shaded themselves into a corner. And now this is just ShoWTimE's game. He has crushed the entire Stalker army of MaNa. He has also eliminated... Oh, no, didn't manage to get that last Adept, but more or less eliminated the Adept threat. And meanwhile, back home, MaNa has just started a Robo. Robo's done for ShoWTimE. Adept Shade's going to get blocked by shield batteries yet again. I mean, ShoWTimE, just perfect. That was like a perfect defense.
Yep, this is why we call him the Mauer, the wall. That was very, very well done. I was actually a bit worried because I was like, that's a lot of stalkers. It can get hectic. The adepts can get into the main base. There's a lot of burst damage on these stalkers. Maybe ShoWTimE can run out of units, but he did a fantastic job in dropping force fields at the right time, keeping his units alive, staying near the battery, and making damn sure that those adepts are not getting into the main base. A really clean defense by the German.
One of the things that shield batteries do is that they really mess up your intuition, your sort of snap intuition in a fight, because, if you just imagine stalkers versus stalkers in the middle of the map, no shield batteries nearby, you sort of are like, okay, here's one volley, and then I'm going to kill this in the second volley, and you're sort of mentally prepared for that second stalker volley and then on to the third one. But when you have a shield battery, they regenerate Protoss shields real quick, so you kind of wind up over-targeting or switching the target for the next shot before the unit's down, and we saw a little bit of that with MaNa, and I think that it's one of the big things that helps ShoWTimE defend that with just such strength.
No, you're spot on. Like, I have a little daily meme on my stream whenever I play. I'm like, okay, this is challenge 387 of me trying to win a battle with 4 stalkers against 3 stalkers, a sentry, and a shield battery, and I can guarantee you never win it. I keep on trying, but shield batteries are just amazing when the unit count isn't that high, and if you don't have enough to one-shot a unit, those battles become very feisty. Now this game is getting really interesting, because ShoWTimE is gearing up for a massive attack with Resonating Glaive Adepts. Now MaNa has the right idea, and that is making a disruptor against this. Did he already get it? No, he
Wait, it looks like he just canceled it. I was about to bring it up too, yeah.
That makes me sad, actually, because I think the disruptor would be great, because adepts tend to clump up a lot, and ShoWTimE most likely just wants to shade those adepts in. So I think a disruptor would have been fantastic. It also builds quicker than a Colossus. Instead, MaNa's gonna try to survive without shield batteries here, just with Colossus. I think this is going to be very hard. He does have 2 Immortals. They are great in soaking up shots from these adepts, but this is going to be really hard, man.
This is going to be very close. This is a lot of gateways worth of adepts. 8 adepts shading in, and is there a worker on the high ground? No, it looks like the Colossus has just finished production. Force fields get planted to try to block off reinforcements from ShoWTimE. We see the Colossus on the high ground just eating these adepts alive, and the Immortals from Liquid MaNa. Shield battery's almost done. Shield's battery's almost done. What an incredible, solid timing defense from MaNa.
That is
not
just
have gotten that
insane.
Colossus at a better time.
Exactly, and the positioning, right? It's not just that it showed up at the absolute perfect moment. It was in the best spot ever. It was safe on the high ground. It got shots off on nothing but adepts that were standing next to each other, so a lot of splash damage was dealt. And then on top of that, it was never going to go down because it's safe on the high ground. It's soaking up quite a few shots. Yeah, amazing. That went a million times better for MaNa than I ever thought it would. What a sick call by him to go Colossus there.
Wow. And you've already invested in Resonating Glaives with ShoWTimE. It's easy to want to build more adepts, want to try to maybe make some more action happen. But, adepts are... nice response from MaNa to try to get these stalkers in good position and, gonna just continue to defray this attack.
He's got an army, though, on the north side of this prism. ShoWTimE has to be so careful now. Obviously, the natural is kind of exposed. This game is about to get really wild. ShoWTimE is going into double Robo Disruptor, so he wants to buy time. Disruptors are actually very good against Colossus, but this game is just getting so wild at this point that Warp Prism is so low on HP, there's no way it can warp in. It can't warp in. ShoWTimE, what are you going to do? Are you going to recall? Yes, he does recall.
Really smooth play from ShoWTimE. The single Warp Prism to harass and then the recall back out. But this is actually one of the consistent issues, at least that I have with adepts. They only cost a little bit of gas, but you build up a lot of those, and then this just keeps delaying your robo units by a few more seconds, by a few more seconds, by a few more seconds. And now we see a pair of Colossi done. The Disruptors are only just now finishing for ShoWTimE.
He's setting up the flanking Disruptor on the north side. He fires, and ShoWTimE gets a decent hit, but actually not that good. Just a little bit of splash damage. A lot of units were clumped up, but he's got 2 more. Obviously, you want to get up to 4 or 5 Disruptors. Can ShoWTimE get the hits that he's looking for? You cannot take these shots to the face. MaNa's going to pick up the Colossus. Well done. Really good play. I am loving this PvP series so far. Oh my goodness, there's so much happening.
just such a dynamic match. And I mean, like, both players continuing to add adepts to try to clear out the opponent players' adepts. And you see 4 adepts from ShoWTimE getting ready to move down into the middle. And then here is MaNa with some forward immortals, seeing maybe if there's an opportunity to maybe bait a shot. There's one baited from the Disruptor over in the natural expansion. Look at this. MaNa has walled off. No risk of getting counter-harassed. MaNa is focused on winning with this fight.
Yeah, but it's so hard to run into all these disruptors. Attacking into disruptors is super dangerous, but the army comp of ShoWTimE is so random. I mean, Disruptor Adept is not a unit composition in PvP, but he's trying to pull it off over here, and he's got 5 disruptors now.
I mean, there comes a point where you actually have so many disruptors that the shots just never stop coming. And it looks like some absolutely essential hits from ShoWTimE pick off massive numbers of units. And now, yep, Adept Disruptor pushing forward, picking off the Immortals, picking off the Stalkers. There's an attempt to do some kiting from MaNa, but MaNa might just have to abandon ship. I mean, this is part of the reason why people love going disruptors when they're a little bit behind, because no matter what, as long as you have some disruptors, you can always pull off juicy shots like what ShoWTimE just did.
Insane. I cannot believe you just said the words Adept Disruptor is pushing back the army. Because I have never heard anybody say that, but it was happening. And I mean, MaNa is actually, it seems like he's very flustered by what is happening. And he's like, what do I even make? So he's going to make another Colossus. But I'm not sure if that's the correct call, because Disruptors are actually pretty good against Colossus as well. I am just as confused as MaNa is, and ShoWTimE with the weirdest army comp I've seen in a while is making magic happen.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, MaNa's most powerful unit is the Warp Prism, because there's just not enough anti-air. All the gas has been getting dumped into Adepts and Disruptors, and only just now is ShoWTimE able to begin making some Stalkers. There's no Blink for ShoWTimE. Twilight Council only just now finishing for MaNa, and he immediately gets Blink. And I mean, this is where things become real tricky.
Okay, MaNa just sniped a Prism, and I'm sure that he was really hoping it was carrying a Disruptor or even 2. That's not the case, but still, sniping a Warp Prism is awesome. Now, MaNa's gonna get his own Warp Prism. Well, he already has one. He's gonna go for some Colossus Harass in PvP. Is this like some ladder challenge? Like, hey man, can you do a Colossus drop for me? It's like, no, I'm playing ShoWTimE, okay? I can't do that.
But why do my supporters torture me?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Well,
ShoWTimE sending some Adepts across the middle of the map. MaNa there to intercept. We see Gravitic drive. Yeah, MaNa's really noting that the Stalker count is pretty damn low for ShoWTimE. But at this point, ShoWTimE's cross-mapping it. Has 5 Disruptors. MaNa goes, yeah, that seems like a good unit. I'm going to build some of those. Oh.
Yeah, MaNa has his own Disruptors now, and he's got Warp Prism speed. Oh my goodness. And I think that ShoWTimE without Blink, well, he has Blink on the way, but as long as he doesn't have Blink, he's going to have a very hard time dealing with Disruptors as well. This is just such an awkward position for both players to be in, because there's very little micro potential to avoid these Disruptor shots. Oh my god, I'm loving it. What a great PvP best of 5 so far.
Oh, MaNa's got to be real careful. That Blink is almost gone. Whoa, 3 Disruptors get picked up. The counter to Disruptor is the Disruptor and GG. What a game. What a game.
What are they feeding these TeamLiquid players today? Okay, like, I don't know what's happening, but now MaNa is up 2-0 as well over ShoWTimE in 2 absolutely insane games. The first one was crazy because of the pace. This one was crazy because of the strategy. It had everything. It was like, ShoWTimE's gonna win, MaNa's gonna win, ShoWTimE's gonna win, Adept Disruptor is a thing now, and then MaNa transitions into Warp Prism speed and gets the amazing hit. Unreal.
You know, there is, I feel like, this barrier that prevents a lot of people from, well, I don't want to say prevents, it's almost like you don't see that it's there. Like, if I am a pro player and I'm laddering all the time, I'm experiencing all manner of cheese and crazy, maybe tier 2, tier 3 strategies, and you would never see one of these strategies show up in an actual GSL match or in a WCS top 4. So when we wind up watching a match like this, which I would describe as not common, this is some not common stuff. I mean, how impressive is it that MaNa was able to navigate through that situation with such elegance? Like, the fact that ShoWTimE was able to do a Resonating Glaive Adept attack that got crunched and then not immediately concede, which is a technique I like to employ. he somehow goes to double Robo Disruptor and then utilizes this absolute no anti-air army to fend off this Colossus Stalker, very standard-looking composition. That was tight. That was just awesome.
It starts off with MaNa losing all his units and being economically behind. Then it follows up by ShoWTimE making an attack and just getting crushed. Then MaNa makes another attack and once again loses pretty much all of his units.
Yeah.
And then MaNa gets War Prism Speed and a Disruptor and wins the game. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. These games have been wild. These games have been awesome. In the right bottom side of Simulacrum, look in the main base of the man who defeated Parting yesterday. And he just seems to be a PvP monster at the moment. It is MaNa.
And Or Yonder in the top left has been able to get edges in the early games of games 1 and 2, hoping to transition it to a win as he's down 0-2. The German Protoss, ShoWTimE. The wall.
Well, the wall is crumbling at this point.
Yeah.
Wow. You know, I think that Dario casted a curse on me, man. Like, my predictions, I don't want to say I make the best predictions in the game, but I've been pretty all right over the years, Once upon a time, I had a couple sick calls here and there. I am 1-4 at this point. I predicted ShoWTimE to win this series. Like, what is happening?
I'm 2-3. I was absolutely ShoWTimE here. I think the only difference between you and me was, like, the trap match.
Yeah.
I mean, this has been just not just unusual results, but unusual games, start to finish.
Well, it's really exciting because this has been. We went over this in the beginning of the day, but it's actually amazing to be wrong in StarCraft. You don't want to see things and then be like 4 minutes in, like, oh yeah, now X, Y, and Z happens, and this is how the game ends. Like today, there's just so many moments where it's like, oh, this player's in trouble, that player's in trouble, and they keep turning things around. Players that we think are down and out just keep making miraculous comebacks that shouldn't be possible at this level. But we keep on seeing it. Like that last game, unreal. Like after the initial 3-gate, that's supposed to be over, and then ShoWTimE is filled attack. Well, then it's over, right? It just keeps on going. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's what's especially cool about this Protoss vs. Protoss series is, again, this matchup can feel very build ordery. Well, I'm going to make this attack for this timing, and if he flies an Oracle into my mineral line, so be it. And then he does, and you say GG and you leave. Or you thought he was 2-gating, but he hit a 3rd gate, so you GG and you leave. There's just a lot of that bluntness that can happen. And yet, what have we seen thus far? These brilliant micro-heavy maneuvers, these incredible defenses, these odd transitions. I mean, it has been just back and forths of skill and ingenuity. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's been fantastic to watch. Both players are doing the same thing so far here in game 3. They're both opening up with the double Stalker into the double Sentry, so very macro-oriented starts. And there's a good chance we'll see something that was a bit similar to game 1, but of course in game 1 we had MaNa opening up with those 6 or 8 adepts, whatever it was, and all the craziness that came along with it. This game, it seems like we're finally gonna have a slower start. And you know what? I need it after those 2 last games.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the big things that casters do at the start of the game is we kick back, we go, oh, this is standard. Kevin, how's your week been?
Exactly. Like I was actually, you joke around now, but I was looking forward to asking you, it's like, what's keeping you busy lately? The people want to know, Sean, a lot of the StarCraft fans, we want to know what you've been doing. It's been non-stop action. I couldn't ask you anything.
Oh, it's so great, man. This is, I mean, I'm not going to lie. I was a little worried when I heard that I had to be here for call time at 4 a.m. I went to bed at 9 p.m. last night. And I was like, all right, let's try to make this work. I hope I don't get a little groggy in the games. And instead, it's just been like absolute adrenaline start to finish. It has been fantastic.
When you start a day with U-Thermal 3 Zest, then I guess it's just like, okay, that was a proper wake-up call.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I did trip over my words a little bit in the first 3 series. The coffee was, taking a little time to kick in. But then U-Thermal provided the extra hump to get me to my comfort zone.
It's okay. I've been tripping over my words for the last 10 years, and it's going great, Sean. So.
Oh, man. Well, we do see the very, very early +1 attack, especially with, you talk a lot about the power units. the more, I almost want to say the more gas heavy the unit, the thicker the unit, the more it benefits from a +1 attack. And when you have Immortals and Archons in that army composition, the +1 attack, +2 attack gives so much leverage. It's way more worth it than just getting another gateway at this stage. Big difference right now, we see the blink coming down for MaNa, which is a very, very sort of defensive early upgrade.
Yep, this used to be the gold standard in this matchup, but not anymore. People are like, you know what, if you skip Blink, that actually means we have more Archons and more Zealots. And when we then run to the other side of the map, we win. That's kind of the idea why Blink Stalkers fell out of fashion. Now, there is obviously a lot of potential in Blink Stalkers, always. But I think what's going to be very important is that eventually MaNa gets himself in a position where maybe he can blink 4 Stalkers into the main base to bring back the Stalker hit squad and snipe some probes, or just get a lot of Stalkers on the other side of the map. Because if MaNa goes Blink, just sits at home and waits until ShoWTimE attacks him, then he's going to lose, because ShoWTimE's army is going to be better. So it is important that these Stalkers get some value. And I think, for instance, one thing that they should be doing right now is denying ShoWTimE from going up to 3 bases, right? ShoWTimE doesn't have the mobility that MaNa has. MaNa should be out on the map with his Stalkers.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is like the most archetypical StarCraft sort of duality, right? One player going for a sturdy army, which means they're going for a slow army. The other player going for a weaker army that's really mobile. And what the mobile player needs to do is deny bases and take bases. That is the thing that you are going for. And MaNa, I think, may have made an error by waiting until +1 was getting close to completion. Because, I mean, if you're ShoWTimE, you don't really need much to defend against Stalkers. You need like a Immortal and a Shield Battery, and you're fine.
A really good observer by ShoWTimE. He sees this army, so he knows where it is. What are you going to do, man? You're going to be very careful here. Don't blink on those Immortals. That is not a good choice. He's going to blink away, but this is where he finds the Nexus. But yeah, we said he was a bit too late. This Nexus, instead of having 200 HP, it's pretty much full on HP. And now it's really hard to make magic happen. Now, MaNa is staying on 3 gases, so he's going to have a lot of Zealots, I guess, but I think MaNa missed his window already, but you know, I've been wrong a lot today, so let's see if he can create magic with his army. But at this point, I am loving everything on the side of the map of ShoWTimE, and I just don't know what MaNa can do.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel that maybe MaNa can try to go for a 4th base. One of the benefits of taking extra bases in PvP is that you don't really need that many probes to get the big benefit. You can just take the double assimilator and boom, you're getting the gas income you need to begin pumping out those Archons.
So this is it, Sean.
Oh, sorry. Is he just going for it now?
Yeah, he has to, because he's down workers and he's working with a simpler army, so he's going for it. The force fields are actually not that great, but there is a War Prism here that can save those Archons, and Archons are fantastic against Zealots. And every second that goes by is a great one for ShoWTimE. MaNa needs to start finding damage on these Archons. He needs to make magic happen here. He's got a lot of units. He blinks forward. He tries to get a Prism, but he doesn't get it. The Shield Battery saves the War Prism.
Wow, thanks to Shield Battery. At this point in time, MaNa just has to type out. There it is, GG. Yeah, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head, Roddy. If you are going for Blink the Stalkers, even if you're a little bit low on information on what your opponent's doing, you got to move forward. You got to get out on the map. You have to leverage the fact that you have a more mobile army, because Stalkers feel horrible against Zealot, Archon, and Immortal. They feel horrible against that composition, but they're really, really, really fast and good at harassing. So I think if MaNa had just moved out earlier, maybe there was a window, but I mean, we got to see how thin that timing window is.
Yeah. No, confusing game, especially because MaNa looked so... I mean, the first 2 games were crazy, but he did look really good, especially in that first game with all the multitasking. And I felt at this point he almost gave himself a build or a loss there. And you know, I feel like if you want to hit like a Zealot Stalker kind of timing, and that's what MaNa was working with, I'm really surprised to even see him on 3 gases, because I feel like 3 gas is a bit too much. Because the idea, I guess, is that you get a very high mineral income. SOS does this sometimes in PvP, and you're basically using the PvT style that we know about all the gateways, all the Zealots, all the Stalkers, and you use it in PvP. And it can work if the Archon count is low. If you hit the right timing, it's like, yeah, Archons are great, but if Archons get surrounded and swarmed by Zealots, then obviously Zealot Stalker can make magic happen.
Yeah.
But MaNa just missed the window. Like, he was too late. The Archon count was already at 3, and ShoWTimE was totally ready for this.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. If you're going Zealot Stalker, your goal is not actually to attack and win. Your goal is to get so many bases, then you still just get more Archons. It's still an Archon build, you know. What build in PvP isn't? And oh my gosh, what a moment to fist pump, Kevin. It is the map that has delivered amazing game after amazing game. We're going to game 4 on Zen. This is the lucky map.
Zen PvP is also not something I see super often. It just feels that this is a map that gets vetoed often by Protoss players in the other matchups, and because of that, they don't play it on the ladder, and they're like, well, it's not that I hate PvP on this map, but I never play it in the other matchups, so I guess I don't know Mirror either. Anyways, let's see how this one plays out. In the right top side, he's still up 2-1. It is Liquid's MaNa.
And in the bottom left, hitting his stride in game 3, showing what solid, sturdy play is and why he's known as The Wall. It is ShoWTimE. What a cool name, The Wall.
I know. Yeah, that is a cool
that's
nickname.
Cool. Oh, man. I mean, like, almost never does someone get a cool nickname as a player. Like, if I played, they'd be like, he's the Ferret Zerg, or they have some goofy-ass name, and I'd be like, oh, man. I'm going to go back to a barcode.
No, not the barcode show.
No,
barcode.
Anything but the bar. Maybe I'll do a trap does and name myself. My clan is Day 9, and then have a barcode name.
The Day 9 barcode I could live with. Like, I think that's really cool, but not just another barcode. What is MaNa up to with his probe? Is he just gonna hide the pylon there? Yeah, okay. Well, that pylon is probably never going to get spotted. That's a very well hidden pylon. So he's giving ShoWTimE the idea that he's like, hey man, I'm proxying something, good luck figuring it out. But he's actually not proxying anything other than the pylon.
Yeah, I mean, I really love pylons at these edges because it's kind of a way to circumvent a problem that you have as a Protoss in PvP, which is observers are great to see stuff, but 75 gas? Are you kidding me? You want me to spend that money? You know, like getting an observer can feel fine, but building more than one, you always kind of like, I don't know. And this pylon is basically a mineral-based observer. It's just really nice, and it doesn't do anything to disrupt your build.
Yep. And early game, obviously, it scares your opponents a little bit, right? Like, if you are ShoWTimE, you're like, okay, it could just be the pylon. A lot of people just proxy the pylon. But what if it's not just the pylon, you know? What if there is an oracle being built somewhere? Do I need a shield battery, my mineral line? There is a probe of ShoWTimE on the top side of the map. And when I said it was never going to get scouted, I think... Does he see that? Is that deep enough?
Oh, one time.
Oh, wow.
Hello.
That is unreal that he finds that, by the way. That is
All right.
some sick scouting.
Time to cross map for it. All right, let's get the sentries going.
Hold on. Look at the mini-map of ShoWTimE. Like, his scouting has been insane. He's been checking pretty much every corner of the map.
The only thing that he hasn't scouted is the bottom expansion. Like the straight 6 o'clock. I mean, that's diligence right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man, it's so active. I'm so lazy when I play a lot, especially when I play a lot of games. At one point, I become really lazy. I'm like, you know what? No scout. I'll just get a battery. I think I'm pretty safe.
Yeah, no, it's not that I think I know what's going on. It's that I just don't want to multitask right now. It's
yeah,
really...
I know. Like, I'm reading chat over here. You know, I have my Stalker on patrol against the Reaper. We should be good. And I was like, oh, it's Marauders? Well, I didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, then you lose and you're like, well, our opponent's still terrible. And everyone's like, yeah, no, I agree. And then you move on to the next match. It's good technique.
I just want to say that his build would have made no sense, okay? It's like, but Roddy, you didn't scout it all. Well, that doesn't matter. His build didn't make any sense.
There's no way he'll climb up the ladder, but he is by beating you. No, that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that was a one-time thing, okay? Yeah, we've all known it. Now, ShoWTimE is actually the one going for Blink here, and MaNa's doing the same thing. All right, I like it. This is something that we just don't see a lot, Blink against Blink. Obviously, in Zen, you have that insane amount of surface area on the side of your main, for MaNa on the left side, for ShoWTimE on the right side, where Stalkers can always blink in, and there's a lot of potential that they have. But this is cool. Yeah, I mean, Blink against Blink. I love it.
This area where the Phoenix is flying over right now, this behind the mineral at the second base area, is unbelievably obnoxious to try to worry about and defend. You know, I think that Blink Stalkers just makes a ton of sense, even if your opponent isn't trying to do anything early, aggressive-wise. just having the blink when later on warp prisms become more active, that is consistently a pain in the ass to defend. Any shape like that where the back of a mineral line is facing open space, it's gross.
I'm actually surprised by how late, like, ShoWTimE's Robo is. It feels pretty risky because, yeah, he scouted quite a bit, but I'd still always be worried about, what if there was a super random Dark Shrine somewhere, there's a Twilight, and you see the amount of sentries and stalkers, I guess, but I'd still be a little concerned about things, or what if there's suddenly a gateway outside of my base and he's warping in a lot of units and he stopped building probes. But I guess ShoWTimE's scouting has been so good this game with, like, hallucinated phoenixes and probes and stalker movement, that he just knows there is nothing that he really has to worry about, and he could delay his Robo a little bit, but I don't know, it still strikes me as suspicious. He is going to expand a bit quicker than MaNa, but his upgrades are once again a little bit later, and we saw in Eternal Empire that can be a really big deal.
All right, Roddy, it's prediction time. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, this is going to go one of two ways.
Okay.
It could go the way of the normal PvP, where players just sit here, build up, and then one attack happens, one of the players dominates it, and that's GG, right? A one-fight matchup. However, this is TSL 5. Kevin, this game, I'm just going to claim right now, it's going to hit the 25-minute mark. I'm going to say
my prediction for this game right now is Carriers, okay, with +2 air weapons.
That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm ready for the mothership core.
Well, that's going to be hard, but you never know. All right.
I'm sorry, the mothership. Whoopsie daisies. Sorry, that's bad training on my mouth part.
We're gonna have some stalkers from MaNa blinking into the main base. It's 5 stalkers. That is one more than you need to one-shot workers. But I like this a lot. ShoWTimE's stalkers are not doing anything on the right side of the map. Meanwhile, the stalkers of MaNa getting some good damage done here. Can he get the observer? No, he cannot get the observer. I would like to see a blink there. Now he's gonna go for the defensive blink, but now he's gonna get trapped by the stalkers of ShoWTime.
Yes, what a play! What awareness, man. I mean, you see a bunch of slow zealots and sentries defend you. Your brain goes, where are the most important unit for you defensively? Where are they? I'm not even waiting to find out. I'm getting the hell out of here. I mean, that is some heads-up play.
Yeah, that just shows that MaNa is being very well aware of what's happening in these games. And a lot of players today, like we saw Specials, one is TVT, they are playing like they're seeing everything. It's truly impressive. The game senses of these guys are so high right now. They read the state of the game that they're in so well. But it's like, that could have been a disaster, okay? Like, he could have just commanded his stalkers away, then he runs into the stalkers of ShoWTime. You're like, oh no, MaNa. And he's just like, nope, I know what's happening. Your stalkers are not doing anything. They're coming for my stalkers. I'm out of here. I sniped a couple zealots. You lost some mining time. You lost a probe or two. It's really good play by MaNa.
I'm always impressed by players reacting to what they don't see.
Yep.
Oh, I didn't see stalkers, so I'm going to make a big conclusion on that. Oh, I'm not seeing a third base right now. I can make a strong conclusion based on that. Super sophisticated.
Absolutely. ShoWTime is getting a cannon as well defensively, so he seems to be thinking that I'm in a good spot. I just want to survive. And he's not wrong, right? Because he is up 10 workers. And that's obviously a pretty sweet position to be in. How many stalkers have been produced? 9 on the side of MaNa, 8 on the side of ShoWTime. It seems like he's just like, you know what? You attacked me on the Eternal Empire. You're probably going to do it again here on Zen. And MaNa is indeed posturing himself in a position where he wants to attack. I think this one is going to be really hard to pull off, though, right? Against the cannons, the batteries. It seems difficult.
Yeah, I mean, also, there's the gas geysers are not finished yet on MaNa's third base. And I mean, the name of the game is the high-tech units. You're going to need the gas for that. MaNa, yet again, warps right in the face of the enemy. And here we see that the Archons for ShoWTime are positioned perfectly, absolutely annihilating the Zealot force of MaNa. MaNa immediately pulls those back. Looks like a second round of warp-ins from MaNa, and we see the blink on top, picking off the warp prism. This is going to be it, and yet again, MaNa just somehow comes out on top. Oh my gosh, a 2-health Archon.
Yeah, that shouldn't even be allowed, right? Like,
I mean, he's a lottery ticket at this point. Let's just get him out of there. Let's just nurture him back to health.
So ShoWTime did defend in the end. Like, he lost a lot of units when he went for that forward blink, but I think it's okay. I think he reads the game so well where he's like, I know that I'm economically ahead, so what I need to do right now is I need to survive. Now, obviously, if there's a second prism or a pylon there too, that's very risky. Losing all the stalkers does mean that he's gonna struggle defending multiple locations at once, and it kind of feels like that's what MaNa is gearing up toward. How does MaNa have a 40 army supply lead while he's being outmined? I'm so confused. Like, okay, ShoWTimE made a blink forward, he lost a couple stalkers, but why is MaNa's army so much bigger than ShoWTimE's army right now?
This is ridiculous, and here somehow MaNa knows it. And we see Warpins on both sides at the top. Archons immediately getting picked off by those Zealots. I mean, there is just way too much firepower here on the side of ShoWTimE. But the question is, can these 3 Immortals at the back for MaNa provide enough reinforcement? Here's 2 Archons who are late to the party. What's your story, guys? And MaNa's trying to pull back. We're starting to see some probes get pulled off from ShoWTimE. Who's coming out ahead? It's not entirely clear. Both players are so even in terms of army count. These shield batteries are working overtime for ShoWTimE. Liquid MaNa with a clever warp-in of a slew of Stalkers picks off the south side, and again, MaNa is looking very trap-like. Just, oh, there's no way you can do that attack, and then just does that attack.
I mean, after that initial battle happened there, where ShoWTimE survived, but was down in units, ShoWTimE is like, cool, the game goes on, right? +3 attack, goes up to 4 bases. MaNa is like, no, I'm remaking a War Prism. I'm gonna attack again. And you know the funniest thing is that I kind of felt there was a bit of a meme of an attack in the end, because MaNa had a setup. He had that main army with the Archons and the Immortals. Then he had all of his Stalkers on the right side of ShoWTimE's main, and he had an Observer there as well. And I was like, okay, he's going to blink into the main base. And I think he saw the army of ShoWTimE, and he's like, wait a minute, I can fight his army. And it felt like he F2'd, and he's just grabbed everything. And he's like, I want to fight here. So he had an Observer that was supposed to give high ground vision to the Stalkers. It flew into a cannon in the natural, so he had no more high ground vision. Then the Stalkers come in from the most awkward angle ever. And they're like, okay, we want to blink and be part of the fight. He kind of misses the blink, like a guy that's trying to jump across, you know, a little bridge or something, and he doesn't make it. So only one Stalker blinks. But he still had enough in the end, because ShoWTimE was just investing so much into stuff that didn't participate or didn't contribute to that fight at all. You know, the 4th base is not going to help you there. The 10 workers you have more, they're not going to help you. And the +3 attack won't be done in time. And MaNa was just like, units, I want to win. And he won.
I mean, I'm actually trying to scan to that end part of the replay, because that's one of those fights that makes me go, I don't get this matchup. You know, I've always struggled in PvP because so many of these fights are just so subtle. It's a little bit of positioning this way, a little bit that way, and, you know, like Stalkers coming in at the very end to be able to pick off. And I mean, if we're looking in the main bases, I mean, they have almost the exact same gateway counts. They have almost the exact same Archon counts. Few more Zealots on the side of MaNa.
You mean like the initial final fight, right? Not the final fight, but the one before that, where we both thought that ShoWTimE... Yeah, because I agree. When you said the Archons are in a good spot, I was like, oh, that's the sweet spot for the Archons. Like, they're protected by the batteries. They are not in any danger of falling. They're getting sick hits off on the Zealots. And then suddenly, like, ShoWTimE survived, but we're like, that was pretty close. Like, that was maybe closer than it should have been. And then I do think that ShoWTimE got carried away by... Like, you're already up 10 workers. You don't need to go up to 4 bases. You don't need to start +3 attack. You just need extra units here.
I mean, I'm looking at these numbers. In the final fight, 3 Archons for ShoWTimE, 2 for MaNa. 7 Archons for ShoWTimE, 4 for MaNa. 14 Zealots. I mean, oh my gosh, no, I have these completely reversed. No. He had 7 Archons to 4. I now understand what happened. But I'm still really surprised that there's just so many fewer units for ShoWTimE in this. I mean, it looked like he was just ahead throughout. But yeah, especially just marginal advantages of unit counts.
Quite the PvP series, and that means that it's a pretty perfect day for Team Liquid. Clem won, Thermal won, and now MaNa wins as well. Today is a wild day in the Team Liquid StarLeague. I don't think a lot of people saw all these results coming, but hey, here we are. We have 2
We stand as one.
Are you